Good day, and welcome back to Royal News Daily, where royal smiles are analyzed like election promises, and every palace departure raises the same question. Were they not telling us? Now imagine this. The Queen of Denmark, one of the most admired royal figures in Europe, suddenly leaves the country just as a legal ruling tied to a photo scandal dominates headlines. Coincidence? Or carefully timed distance? Because when Queen Mary steps out of Denmark at a moment like this, it does not feel like travel. It feels like a statement. Before we unpack why this moment rattled the monarchy and ignited public sympathy, make sure you subscribe to Royal News Daily and click that notification bell. Royal drama does not wait, and neither should you. Let's break this down. The controversy centers on a court ruling involving the unauthorized circulation of images connected to King Frederik. While the legal decision itself focused on privacy and media boundaries, the public reaction was anything but clinical. The images reopened uncomfortable conversations about royal conduct, scrutiny, and the cost of public life, especially for Queen Mary. And then, just as the ruling landed, Queen Mary left Denmark. Officially, the trip was described as a scheduled engagement abroad. Routine, planned, nothing unusual. But timing matters. In politics and monarchy alike, timing is everything. When events align this precisely, people read between the lines, and sometimes those lines are louder than press statements. Public reaction was swift. Sympathy for Queen Mary surged. Headlines framed her departure as emotional, even protective. Was she seeking space? Was this a quiet response to renewed attention on her marriage? Or was it simply a queen doing her job while the country filled the silence with speculation? Here is where the story deepens. Queen Mary has long been perceived as the stabilizing force within the Danish monarchy. Calm, composed, and deeply respected. In Australian terms, she is the leader who consistently polls well across party lines. When turbulence hits, the public looks to her for reassurance. So when she was suddenly absent from Denmark during a sensitive moment, that reassurance went missing. The palace, once again, leaned into restraint. Minimal commentary, no emotional framing, no strong narrative to guide public understanding. And once again, silence allowed interpretation to take over. From an Australian political lens, this is textbook. When leaders do not control the story early, the story controls them. And what followed was a wave of public empathy mixed with quiet concern. Queen Mary became the emotional center of the scandal, despite not being its cause. That matters, because modern monarchies are not sustained by power. They're sustained by perception. And Queen Mary's image, dignified, resilient, quietly enduring, now carries more symbolic weight than ever. Her departure felt less like avoidance and more like an unspoken acknowledgement of pressure. Critics argued the reaction was overblown, that she had every right to continue her commitments. Supporters countered that her emotional well-being mattered more than optics. Both arguments reflect a public increasingly invested in the personal cost of monarchy, not just its pageantry. And that shift is important. In earlier eras, royal hardship was hidden. Today, it is analyzed, debated, and empathized with in real time. Queen Mary's brief absence became a mirror for public discomfort, a reminder that behind ceremonial duty sits a human being absorbing relentless scrutiny. Meanwhile, King Frederik faced a different challenge. His leadership response was measured, controlled, and deliberately low-key. Some praised the restraint. Others felt it lacked warmth. In moments of emotional controversy, neutrality can feel cold, even if it is strategically sound. Again, Australians will recognize this dynamic. Leaders often underestimate how much emotional intelligence matters during crises that are more symbolic than substantive. Facts alone do not calm nerves. Acknowledgement does. The court ruling itself was meant to draw a legal line under the photo scandal. Instead, it amplified attention, and Queen Mary's departure, however routine, became the visual punctuation mark on a story about privacy, pressure, and public judgment. International media took notice. Articles framed Queen Mary as a figure under strain, navigating loyalty, duty, and personal dignity in an unforgiving spotlight. Denmark's monarchy, usually praised for its discretion, suddenly looked exposed, not because of scandalous behavior, but because of human vulnerability. And that vulnerability is double-edged. On one hand, it fuels support. On the other, it raises questions about sustainability. How much pressure can even the most composed royal absorb before cracks begin to show? And what responsibility does the institution bear in shielding its members, not just itself? As Queen Mary returned to public view,